Yep.
All right, scaling fast through technological convergence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first, we've got a great crowd and standing room only in the back. But as I approach, there are a few seats as you come towards the front. So if anybody's in the back looking for seats, please do come forward. Ranga, we've got hundreds of people in the room representing hundreds of businesses as well. And although Smartfren is a name that's probably well known to many, it might be helpful if you could just give some of the people out there a brief introduction to the business and what that business enterprise group is doing currently today.
So let me first start with my name, such a long name, but I think everybody knows here my Ranga. I think Ranga is a very popular name in Indonesia. People know about it. I think when I came to Indonesia, I think everybody said, oh, Ranga Cinta, Ranga Cinta. So I'm still trying to find my Cinta, but I think it's so the other anecdote I can talk about is, I have probably the longest name. Probably I've worked in many countries, and once I called a call center to fix something, and the lady on the other side picked and said, Pa, probably you will have the longest name in Indonesia, probably. I said, oh, that's an achievement. So anyway, coming back to what is Smartfren business is all about. Actually, we are a telecom company, and we are a ICT company, and we are a solution company. So it's a combination of telco, ICT, and a solution. And we solve business problems. It's not that we provide you mobility or a connectivity business or a technology business, but we solve business problems and enable technology. So when I say technology, it includes starting from the core telco, which is mobility, connectivity business, which is fixed line and other businesses. But we also have ICT, which is we are talking about cloud services and managed services, security services, and even the server and storage and Cisco equipments, which go in enabling all the applications and all the delivery which happens to the end consumer is enabled by us. Just to give an example, the SMS which you get to verify probably is at the back end run by us. So even though the customer doesn't feel that it's from us, but we are running that business. Also, the excitement is about the new businesses, which is IoT. I think in future we'll see everything connected from your washing machines to cars and everything. I think that's another business we are very much into it. And that's the new business of the digital business which we are. So fundamentally, in summary, we enable your business to grow. And grow at a cost which probably you need to, we manage your cost in a way that you become more profitable. So our aim and objective is to ensure large enterprise and medium and small enterprise become more and more profitable by utilizing a lot of new technologies and new services.
Great. So, clearly in Indonesia, it's a highly competitive marketplace with some very, very big players. So for you, what are you looking at in terms of the high potential areas? Where do the challenges and where do the opportunities lie for you?
Yeah, I think we have almost every day we talk to our customers, and I think what we hear from them is that when they want to grow the business, the technologies are keep changing every year, or it keeps coming new things, and they are like stuck with a lot of old technologies. And how do you ensure that your investments are able to recover their investments? Today, probably they are buying X storage, and suddenly the growth happens that they have to keep adding on more and more. Plus the network requirement keeps happening, the applications keeps changing. So how do you address that fast pace of change, and how do you manage the change? I think that's one of the key areas which is a pain for everybody, including startups or a large enterprise. So that's where we try to manage the entire cycle for them. And because we are totally technology agnostic. So we don't believe that one technology will work for everybody. So we bring the right technology and right understanding of the business and solve through that particular area. So that's where we bring our expertise. That's one. Second, probably we are the only integrated technology or a telco and technology company under one umbrella. So, of course, I don't want to name the competition, but if you look at many of our competitors have different companies to manage different set of businesses, whether it is mobility or fixed line business or a technology company. And we are the only one who probably can bring all together. So at a customer point of view, you will have one interface and one engagement with a backup of a lot of expertise.
And with that continuous rapid evolution, is it? Are you just dealing with continuous iteration, or are you looking ahead? Do you look ahead 5 years? And if you do, what are you seeing?
So, in fact, me and my team work and think like a startup. So even though we are part of a big group, our energies are, I think probably we have very young people. I'm probably the oldest one. So
me too.
we try to encourage. So the ideas are coming from a lot of young people in our organizations, and we keep evolving how we can help and support our customers. And as I say, the future is all about creating a model of. I've heard a lot of speakers here, like there were competition, there is collaborations. We have gone through the space. They were very competitive, everybody. Then we had this collaboration phase where everybody wanted to collaboration. I think future is about co-creation. So unless until you co-create between 3 or 4 organizations with an expertise, probably that's the value addition you're going to bring in future. Because collaboration is good, but in future you don't know how the technologies and the new things are going to happen. So you need to anticipate, and someone must be very good in one area, someone is another. We need to combine the resources, the brain power, resources, and everything to co-create new technologies or new services which will help the businesses grow.
And could you give us some examples in terms, we've got some big players in the market. You're a top telco in Indonesia. Everybody fighting for market share. So how specifically are you doing that for Smartfren?
So for example, I just give example, we have collaborations with HP, Cisco, Huawei, and Zoom for the software, for the conferencing services, and Polycom, and all these companies are big companies, and they are multinational and they are globally available. So just to give an example with HP, so we are creating a model of what we call managed services. So it's in this case, any technology which is required by a startup or a medium or a large enterprise, we are able to provide on a very cost-effective model. So the investment required by the companies or the organization on the capex side is almost zero, negligible. So earlier, because I think today also if you look at a lot of startup companies spend a lot of money in investment on the capex in terms of buying technologies or developing technologies. So that's where we come in, and we co-created a platform where it's very easy for someone to just be on that platform and start immediately working on it without much investment. And we have a kind of OpEx model. So your cost of operations is probably very, very significantly lower than what other companies can offer to anybody. And this has happened because we think like startup, right? That's how we know the problems of the startup, and we work on that way.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, speaking of, we can bring it into the room, actually. We've obviously got a number of businesses out there that are startups, a lot of entrepreneurs in the room, and they're probably thinking, they're looking at the size of your business, looking at who you are, the conglomerate behind your business, and saying, how is this, how do I get in the game? How is it relevant for me? What can you tell these young startup businesses about how they can, and what you can do for them, and how your business can be of service?
So I myself was an entrepreneur before getting into the
Cool.
corporate world. So I had my own startups. I started with something, failed, then again started something, failed. So 3 times failed. So and the 4th time was, I would say, success was a little bit successful. I think, but probably the fifth time has been been the right time for me. So in terms of the startup, I think whenever we start, I think there is a fear of failure. We always think, we will fail. What happens if we fail, So I think that's one cultural mindset which we need to. I won't say I want to advise, because I think I always believe that people sitting on that side of are smarter than me. So probably just a suggestion or experience sharing. So fear of failure should not be there. So it's okay to fail, no problem. You try and see how we can go in terms of doing it. And the other one which I learned a lot is in terms of, I think, of course, the scale. Scale is very important to be successful in any organization. On a short term, what you call the profitability may not matter, but in the long term, we should have a very strong commercial and revenue model, which will happen. Yeah, because otherwise there is always chance of funds going out. So the dependency on investments in the long term. That's how the de-risking of the part needs to be there.
And you mentioned before what you're doing, some of the work that you're doing with HP. So your business is not limited to partnerships with other large businesses. You can work with these young startups. There are opportunities to do a number of things together with them.
Absolutely. In fact, some of the digital application which we have today has been developed by very young people in our organization. And we are collaborating with some of the startups, and so I think one potential opportunity I see is how do we go to market, because we have a large customer base, and how do we collaborate with some of the startups, because they have some fantastic ideas, and how can we collaborate together or co-create something which is very much acceptable or by the market on a wide larger base, because we have our own strengths in terms of the markets, the sales channels, and the expertise technology guys which we have. So we are able to work with some of the, we still are working with many of these small companies and taking their application, creating with our own technologies and going to the customer. And some of them have been very successful on the IoT side and on the digital application side, been very successful, and people have accepted that as one of the key service differentiator in the market for them, and at a cost which probably none of the other big players can give it to them.
Right. And speaking of in the ICT, IoT space, are there any things that you're looking at that you're developing or you're seeing from some of your partners and startups that are particularly exciting? What would be the most exciting types of things you're seeing out there at the moment?
So I think in next few years we'll see the 5G coming here. We don't know when, but definitely that probably will change the entire ecosystem again. So we are gearing up for that. Plus we also want to leverage our great LTE infrastructure, which is probably the best in Indonesia, and how we can leverage those two technologies for future, including IoT, which is the future probably, and the digital services. So these are the 4 key areas which we are really focusing on now, and putting a lot of investments and discussions with our customers. Again, our methodology is more from, it's not about what I want to sell to the customer. We are looking from what is the customers need, because that's where we're trying to solve the problem. It's not like I want to sell you a service, but I'm looking at, okay, let's say if it's a bank, then how the banking customers are evolving, and which are the other competitive technologies they are looking at it. If your experience today is to do entire banking through applications, then what are the other touch points which in future you will like to have it, and how easy you can do it? That's one. And second, how can you penetrate a bigger base? Because at the end of the day, you need to have a scale. If you're still a segment of banking or other financial sector is very limited, you need to expand that base. So how we can do that, that's one other area which we are clearly looking at it.
Excellent. Yeah, like all of our businesses, we aren't alone in the marketplace. So there's this constant competition, and how are you now with your business differentiating from the other competitors in the market?
So I think there are two core areas. One, I think what we are trying to do is simplify things, because when you talk about technology, we think that it's the IT domain, right? People talk about IT people. So how can you make this technology very simple to go to market, and how can you explain? So can I explain this technology to a small kid, or a service to a small kid? So that's why we are trying to make things simplify the entire thing. From the business point of view, whether it's a small startup or a medium enterprise or a small business or a large enterprise, simplification of the entire business is one area which we are really working on it. That's one. The second one is about probably we are the only one who can give you the total one-stop shop solution. So if you're a technology developer or a technology buyer or a enabler, then probably we are the only one who can give you all services at one-stop shop. You don't have to go to multiple vendors, for servers and storage, I go to one guy. For connectivity, I go to another guy. For a cloud, I need to go to somebody else. So it's like, because when you buy in a very disaggregated way, then your cost is also going up. Plus, when you're trying to manage your technologies, then each one of them is not talking to each other, So that's a big problem for everybody. So here, this is where we differentiate. We come in and say that, okay, we'll manage the end-to-end for you, and we have the one-stop shop solution to provide you. And when the requirement of scale-up happens, it's much easier for everybody to scale up.
Excellent. I think very useful for everybody in here. So I don't think we have time for questions. I think we might have just run out, but so if people, what's been happening, I've been noticing through the room, you probably have a meeting to attend this afternoon. You're going to get up, walk out the back. What if somebody is saying, boy, it'd be great to be able to speak to you or learn a little bit more about the business, how they going to contact you and do that?
So of course, our people are here outside in our booth. People can go and talk to them, how we can solve business problems. I'm here for another 5-10 minutes. More than happy to answer any queries or questions from the audience. I think there's a great audience here today, so more than happy to be here.
Yeah, full house.
Yeah.
So Ranga will be in the back if you've got questions. Thank you very much for your time today, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.